Lilith in Pisces or Lilith in the 12th house. Stated here and see which celebrities have their Lilith in Pisces. This is not real. I don't even know why we're here. Lilith in Pisces is trying to understand our human experience while being sensitive to knowing that life is way more than our human experience. This is where Lilith becomes introspective, an investigator of the mind and the soul. Reality can be too much. Reality can be too controlling. They can choose to take over that control and only base life on things that are in reality, the things that we can touch and see, or choose to escape life and choose to escape any responsibility. This is where Lilith can have a reliance on expanding their mindset and living in dreams, finding ways to escape through things. They already know what people feel and they already know what people fear. They can have anxieties, but they can also be the healer of fears. Their creativity, their vision, and their insight to knowledge can make them go to another level. They can be viewed as magical. Lilith in Pisces can search the soul like no other, and when in balance, they can bring out a person's best version of themselves. They are Lilith in Pisces.
Lilith en Piscis, nanomicromini clase de astrología. En Piscis, Lilith se convierte en una sacerdotisa de los misterios místicos, esotéricos, una musa que danza, pinta, canta entre los dos mundos, tanto el terrenal como el etéreo, o una hechicera que desafía la realidad con su magia. Una posición de Lilith en la que se pierde en lo infinito. Una Lilith que siente más de lo tangible, que quiere desafiar cualquier atadura del ego, entendiendo al ego como mente o como toda la energía yang. Esta Lilith desafía la materia. Es una mística rebelde que está desafiando la realidad. Lilith en Piscis trasciende lo mundano, ve muchísimo más allá del velo de la ilusión, de ese velo del olvido que tenemos la mayoría, o en cierto grado, pero todos lo tenemos un poco. Esta Lilith no se va a conformar con una visión materialista y limitada de la realidad. Quienes tengan esta colocación dentro de su carta astral definitivamente tienen una intuición, unos sueños, unos anhelos, una creatividad muy intensos y son súper sensibles. Necesidad y conexión con lo espiritual en cualquiera de sus formas, porque nos vamos a encontrar a personas con esta colocación que sean ultra religiosas o ultra espirituales e incluso que puedan tener una tendencia a caer en sectas. Se pueden meter muy fácilmente en mundos alternos, ya sean reales o no, lo cual también los vuelve vulnerables a caer en situaciones como las sectas, como te digo, porque si les venden muy bien una ilusión que los saque de la realidad, se lo van a creer. Igual que pueden caer en relaciones donde los lleven a consumo de sustancias, alcoholismo, etc. Las personas con este emplazamiento pueden llegar a tener heridas relacionadas con su propia identidad. Uno de sus escudos más utilizados es la evasión. A nivel psicológico o en su energía o en su inconsciente, tiene una herida relacionada con el rechazo, el abandono, heridas de confusión, de falta de estructura, de falta de sostén, de falta de normas y mucha falta de realidad, por lo cual necesitan refugiarse en su imaginación, en mundos alternos, en algo que las aísle o las saque de esta realidad. También pueden llevar a estas personas ya en una carta astral a evadir a través del sufrimiento, la tristeza, enamorarse de ciertas sensaciones o emociones. O sea, son personas que tienden a enamorarse de su depresión, a enamorarse de sensaciones de vacío, a enamorarse del desamor. Por ejemplo, si una persona las rechaza, pueden llegar a obsesionarse, pero no es por la persona en sí, sino por la emoción que les causa ese rechazo. Pueden conectarse con facilidad a los planos superiores. El problema viene cuando se desconectan porque quieren regresar, quieren estar allá y les cuesta mucho estar aquí. Esto obviamente se va a potenciar si, por ejemplo, además tienen algún otro planeta en Piscis o el Sol o el ascendente o algún punto muy importante dentro de su carta astral, pues eso obviamente lo va a potenciar, ya sea que esté o no en conjunción con esta Lilith. Lilith en Piscis es intuitiva, es hipnótica, es sensible, genera relaciones con una profundidad emocional que es muy interesante y muy satisfactoria para las personas con las que se vincula. Se conecta en todos los aspectos, mente, alma, cuerpo, es súper entregada en sus relaciones. Lo malo es que se entrega tan religiosamente que puede caer como en un trance imaginario, irreal, puede perderse en el otro y de hecho puede llegar a través de las emociones que le generan sus vínculos a estados alterados de conciencia, lo cual puede sonar muy romántico, pero no lo es. Hay ciertas emociones en las cuales no podemos habitar por tanto tiempo porque psicológicamente caemos en la locura o caemos en algún tipo de situación pues inestable que nos genera no poder ser funcionales, no poder tener un trabajo, no poder sostenernos en el mundo físico, no poder desarrollar ninguna habilidad, ni intelectual, ni algún deporte, nos limita. Esto la puede llegar a materializar vínculos donde genere dependencia emocional, vínculos idealizados donde no es ni siquiera mutuo, pero esta persona con este emplazamiento está idealizando tanto a la otra persona que vive como en una tipo relación mental que no es real, que no es tangible, donde no hay reciprocidad. Puede caer en la obsesión y terminar pues haciendo un desborde y generando situaciones muy conflictivas. Esta Lilith está falta de límites, lo cual hace que pues obviamente se desborde emocionalmente, que se pueda desbordar en adicciones, pueden caer en colapsos psicológicos porque tienen una confusión entre la realidad y lo que no es verdad, pero lo viven muy real porque ciertas cosas de las que ven en realidad, o sea, sí son reales, pero son poco sostenibles, porque al final somos seres humanos viviendo una experiencia terrenal. Esta Lili también tiene una tendencia a absorber la energía de los otros y terminar siendo ella y su pareja también personas súper debilitadas, súper cansadas, súper depresivas y generando vínculos en los que ninguna de las partes tenga una identidad, ya sea porque inunda de sus deseos, de sus percepciones, de su visión del mundo a la persona con la que se vincula o al revés, adopta todo lo de la otra persona que ni siquiera es propio, que ni siquiera le gusta tanto, sino que es parte de su idealización y de su anhelo y de sus sueños. Esta Lilith, si bien tiene una gran intuición, necesita también generar dinámicas que la aterricen, que la conecten con este plano, con este mundo material, entender que su parte de conexión con lo divino es igual de necesaria y de valiosa que su parte física conectada al mundo material y al mundo real. Poder generar que esa disolución, esos sueños y esa creatividad se conviertan en materia. Por eso es que Lilith en Piscis puede ser una gran artista, materializando arte, puede contarnos esa verdad de esos planos tan sutiles a los que ella logra acceder a través de la materia en este mundo, en este plano.
Lilith in Pisces is not soft. She looks like a dream, but she feels like drowning. She is the ghost you swear you saw in a mirror, the perfume you smell in a room she left hours ago. She doesn't need to speak. Your soul already heard her. She knows your fantasies, because she built them. She's not love. She's obsession dressed as mercy, a poison you thank her for. She disappears when you reach for her, but you'll never stop chasing, because what's more addictive than a mystery that knows how to cry? Lilith in Pisces is not fragile. She chooses illusion. She uses innocence. She is the siren that sings you to your death. With tears on her cheeks and blood on her altar, she'll make you feel like the chosen one, until you realize you are just another offering. If this is you, let me know in the comments. Follow for more.
Lilith in Pisces, as I'm sure you're not surprised to hear, not scary. Thoroughly not scary. Of the least scary. This one's mostly just a danger to itself. All Liliths are, though, because, they all go inward. But this one particularly doesn't usually go outward too much. It's mostly like an inward, too much isolation, overdoing stuff, excess, addictions, and mostly just messes up yourself. I don't usually see this one go outward, so not scary. Probably the worst thing I can even think of with this Lilith, if it were to go outward, would just be ignoring somebody or blocking them out because they don't, vibe with you, which is I don't know, sometimes even kind of healthy. Lilith is not healthy, but you know what I mean. Not scary.
Lilith and Pisces. So Pisces, they're known for being the dreamers, having the wild imagination. They can be also very psychic, legit prophets sometimes. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter in traditional astrology, and then in modern astrology, it's ruled by Neptune. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and then Neptune is the planet of, dreams, creativity, illusion, delusion, fantasy. It can be a bit, I don't want to say easy, but it could be easy for this placement to get, lost sometimes, just in the fantasy of it all. Want to be mindful of addiction. Addiction, it could be to anything. It could be to sex, substances. It could even be maladaptive daydreaming, just to where you take yourself too out of reality. And the other extreme, this placement could fully deny their dreams, be oh, it's not possible, it's not gonna happen, be overly realistic. But I feel just with how Pisces is, the other one's a bit more likely, especially if there's trauma, wanting to escape from the reality of things and kind of being more in your head. This placement can be very trusting and legit trusting to a fault. You could project your fantasy onto people and it's not necessarily that you're hoping for the best. It's just not everybody is as pure, unfortunately, as we hope. Songs come to mind for the vibes of this placement are Tyler Durden by Madison Beer, Daydreamin', Ariana Grande, Over the Rainbow from The Wizard of Oz. Now for this placement, intuition and creativity can be an asset. If you're channeling it into things to create art, photography or poetry or just something, then it could be lucrative. You just have to kind of the balance. You can't have too much of anything. Too much of anything can be, detrimental. Practicing grounding practices could also be really helpful to so you can still have your creativity but just ground you more into reality, because this placement too, it's you're very intuitive, definitely, but sometimes you might have worries, and then you might confuse those for I'm getting a vision, or getting psychic messages, and it could just be anxiety or those things bleeding through. So you definitely want to be grounded. Placement could be really into folklore, mythology, psychology, understanding how the mind works. This placement could be a talented healer, but also, again, on the other hand, the ones that reject the spirituality and are super planted in reality, they could kind of really stay away from that stuff, because maybe it's just scary. There's no, it's not real. But yeah, with people, just keep your wits about you, look at their actions, not just their words, because people could try to take advantage of you. You don't want to end up in like this like reoccurring loop of like victimization. Ooh, Foolish One by Taylor Swift's also good. You're not fools, you're just really trusting, but yeah.
There's a reason why your energy feels magnetic, intuitive, and mysterious. Lilith in Pisces is magnetic through energy. You don't have to say much, people just feel you. You make them feel seen, safe, and even inspired. And that's what makes you unforgettable. You lead with compassion, intuition, and mystery. And people can't help but be drawn in. But your shadow, it shows up in the way you lose yourself in others. You give too much. You bend, adapt, and absorb what everyone else needs until you're fully drained. And when it's too much, you shut down quietly without a warning. You crave deep emotional connection, but only if it feels safe. So you protect yourself with distance, even when part of you just wants to be held. Your power is in learning that you don't have to carry what isn't yours. You don't have to prove your worth through selfishness. Because when you show up fully, and not as a fantasy, but as you become the one people never forget.
If you have your Black Moon Lilith in Pisces, also look at what house this is in because that's where the energy will manifest. If you have this placement, you are a strong-willed person. This placement is not for the weak. This is because Lilith is all about extreme obsession and Pisces is about otherworldly experiences. Like you have to pull Pisces back down to earth. It's very difficult for a Pisces to ground themselves. So having Lilith in Pisces is the dark side of imagination. This placement suffers from extreme escapism, delusions, tendencies to fantasize their lives away. There's lots of self-sabotaging behavior, and also Lilith in Pisces is an indicator for potential substance abuse. So either your head is in the clouds, or when you're in this reality, you can't physically do anything or move the needle forward in any way. And this is because you just want to be in the cosmos. So your karmic duty in this lifetime is to turn your imagination into art. You are a gifted healer, psychic, artist. It's super important that you use your imagination to activate your gifts and not to escape. You chasing your dreams will inspire others to do the same. Sexually, you're very submissive and also fantasize in bed a lot. You're probably someone who's doing the deed with someone but imagining someone else, or just completely in a different world in bed. You're someone who has the ability to give yourself an orgasm with the power of your mind. This placement is also a strong indication of powers for sex magic. Your energy transcends the bedroom. You could also have a foot fetish.
Let's break down the symbolism and talk about what it means to be a Lilith in the sign of Pisces. Little reminder that Lilith is our suppressed feminine emotion. So this is the area of which you find rejection, suppression, and neglection. In breaking down the symbolism of the fish, Pisces is about the intuition, dreams, and the subconscious mind. When I think about Pisces, I think of that old soul kind of person, that sort of person that would just drop wisdom on you that would blow your mind. And so when you have Lilith in Pisces, I can see this as when you try to share your wisdom with other people, that is what is rejected. There are probably a lot of nightmares in the person that has this alignment, that or there are just no dreams at all. Pisces are good, oftentimes too good, and they're very kind-hearted people. So with the Lilith Pisces placement, I can see the times that you are trying to be kind, people might take that as you being fake, like you have some sort of ulterior motive or something. Pisces being intuitive oftentimes like to drop wisdom onto people, and I can see having this alignment would make it so people don't want to listen to you as a teacher. They don't want to take your guidance, and my guess is that you've found a rejection when it comes to sharing your ideas with other people. Pisces is one of the most spiritual signs of the whole zodiac, so I can see somebody with this alignment having spirituality suppressed from them. Or this could have manifested in a religious organization actually hurting them. One of the ways that I can think of to liberate the Lilith Pisces would be to focus on spiritual matters. Find a religion that works for you and make it a daily or weekly practice of listening to your intuitive mind. I feel like there's a lot of bad programming that happened in the life of a Lilith Pisces person. So it has to be your mission to reprogram your subconscious mind in a more beneficial way. So if you have faced cruelty throughout your life, this might lead you to dislike humanity and try to stay away from people. You might even walk around saying, "Ooh, I hate people." That is a bad programming. It's also a self-fulfilled prophecy. The more that you think about and talk about the fact that you hate people, the more that you are focused on the negative aspects of humanity. but we are the ones that manifest our realities. You know, what we think about, we bring about. So instead of saying, I hate people, try saying, I dislike some people, but I do love humanity. Gaining control of your conscious thoughts and guarding the gates of what goes into your subconscious mind is going to be the best way that you can liberate this Lilith Pisces placement. They say that Pisces have one foot in this reality and another foot in the spirit realm. So somebody with the Lilith Pisces placement has been made to feel like they're not allowed to have that other foot in the spiritual realm. So to find liberation, you have to step back into that other side. Creating a dream journal, meditation, mantras, prayers, all these things are what you need to start adding into your life. All of these practices help you get your conscious left brain thinking out of the way, and so your right brain, intuitive mind can start to speak to you. I hope that brought some clarity, and as always, if you have any questions, please just leave them in the comments. And if you're trying to take a deeper dive on your natal birth chart and about your Lilith placement, then there's a link in my bio, and we can do a whole astrology breakdown reading.